Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rob's Movie Reviews. This week, I want to do a review for you, a holiday film that's one of my favorites. I'm a little late on this one because this is actually more of a Thanksgiving film, obviously, for anyone who's already seen it and knows about it. But I'm talking about the 1987 Paramount Pictures release, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, starring Steve Martin and John Candy. This is a hilarious movie. It's a lot of fun. It's was written, directed, and produced by the legendary John Hughes, and in typical John Hughes fashion, amongst all the really witty dialogue and the zany antics that take place during the film, there's a lot of character development, and you really have time to begin to know and care very much about these characters, especially John Candy's character, Del Griffith. As the film progresses, we find out that there's been some hard times in his past that he's not completely forthcoming with. But Steve Martin's character, Neil Page, begins to pick up on little signs here and there that maybe Del isn't quite the happy go lucky guy that he likes to project. But it's a fun movie. It starts, I believe, in New York City, where Steve Martin's character, Neil Page, is at a business meeting. It's the day before Thanksgiving. He's in a hurry to get to the airport so he can get back to Chicago to be with his wife and children for Thanksgiving. And as he's trying to hail a cab, someone else actually throws their stuff in the cab and takes off while he's debating with another person trying to buy the cab from him because they had hailed it first, and he's so desperate he's willing to pay them like $100 if they'll let him have the cab. And in the meantime, like I said, somebody else jumps in it and the cab takes off. He eventually makes it to the airport in time for his flight, and that's when we find out that the person who stole his cab was actually Del Griffith, John Candy's character. They get on the plane. They're on their way back to Chicago. Well, Chicago gets hit with a blizzard, so the plane has to be diverted to Wichita, Kansas. And in Wichita, Dell tells Neil Page, you're not getting out of here tonight because the storm is shut down airports all over the Midwest. You might as well get used to the fact that you're going to stay here in Wichita tonight, which they end up doing. And thus begins the long journey of Dell and Neil trying to get back to Chicago. Neil is a very cynical person, very self-centered, so he doesn't really warm up to Dell initially, and he's easily irritated by him because Dell can be an irritating character. He loves to yap and talk constantly, but that's just who he is. He means no harm, and he's a very well-intended, nice guy. It's just that with all the frustration of not being able to get home to his family, Neil has a hard time dealing with him. But as the movie progresses, they begin to form a friendship. And I don't want to give too much away as all the events that happen in the film. There's a lot of really hilarious scenes. But eventually they do make it back to Chicago. And while Neil is on the train on his way home, it dawns on him what's going on with Dell, and he goes back to the train station, and there's Dell sitting there when he had said he was going home to his wife. And that's when we are given the sad truth that Dell really doesn't have a home anymore. He's just kind of a traveling vagabond. He just stays on the road constantly selling, doing his salesman thing, which he's a salesman. I forgot to mention that. But he never goes home because his wife passed away about 8 years earlier, and home is a very sad place for him, so he just never goes there anymore. And Neil invites him to come over to his house and meet his family and spend Thanksgiving with them. And that's where the picture ends, the two of them walking up the sidewalk and going into Neil's house. And Dell gets introduced to Neil's wife and her parents. And it's a very heartwarming film. It's kind of sad at the end, but not so much, that it's like a tearjerker, because it's bittersweet. Because though we're forced to accept what's happened to Dell and know that his life is very sad and empty. At the same time, we're very happy for him that he's created this new friendship with Neil, and it looks like, it's blossoming into a friendship that will last for a very, very long time. This is a wonderful, wonderful holiday film. I recommend it highly. I think you'll really enjoy it. Like I said, it was released by Paramount Pictures in 1987. It was made on a estimated $30 million budget, and it did a box office of $49.5 million. So it wasn't exactly a blockbuster, but it was a commercially successful film, as most of John Hughes' films are or were. I'm just a huge fan of John Hughes. I love his work, and this film is no exception whatsoever. So if you haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's a wonderful holiday season film. You should definitely check it out. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this review, and until next time, you all take care.